every year, the Phoenix Center gives its Jerry B. Duvall Public Service Award. Talked about Jerry a little bit earlier, and the reason why we give Jerry our Public Service Award is when George and I and Tom were all sort of young pups at the FCC 15 years ago, Jerry kind of took us under his wing. And he taught us that when you do the public's work, that when you do analysis, you do it with rigor, you do it with honesty, you try to put your best foot forward, and that's what the public deserves. And so when we started our award series, I guess the 9th recipient, we try to identify policymakers on both sides of the aisle that epitomize that goal, that ideal, that you know what, that maybe we should take some thought and some care into what we're doing into what is arguably a very political process. And this year, we're very delighted to give to Congressman G.K. Butterfield our Jerry B. Duvall Public Service Award. Congressman Butterfield has an incredibly distinguished record. He served as a judge for 15 years, and so for those of us who write law reviews, that's a really good thing to do that. He's the one of the chief deputy whips for the majority side, which is no small thing. And he's really taken a lead on two real issues. One, and this is what we're really recognizing for, one, rural broadband. I mean, again, we're going through this giant zeitgeist of trying to get affordable broadband, ubiquitous broadband, affordable prices, and Congressman Butterfield has really taken a great lead in that. And the second thing is the issue that we've talked about a lot today is net neutrality. And Congressman Butterfield has actually been one of the people from the majority party who said, you know, before we sort of rushed into this, perhaps we should take a pregnant pause and think about this. And so, given the politicization of the net neutrality debate, certainly, I think that takes a lot of political courage. So he's under a very tight time frame, but we would like to honor you, Congressman Butterfield, with this year's award. And we have a lovely piece of, thank you, sir. There you go, lovely piece of etched crystal. And Congressman, we present this and we thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. You have a few remarks? Yes, thank you. I brought some prepared remarks. I'm not sure I'll be able to get through all of it. We are between votes on the Hill. We just passed the rule a few minutes ago on the estate tax, and we were told 45 minutes to an hour we would be voting again. And so I'm going to have to be as brief as I can. But thank you very much for the award, and thank you for your friendship, and thank you for what you're doing for this industry and for America. I usually start off by saying that I'm one of the newer members of Congress, but that's not actually so anymore. I came to this place in 2004 in a special election. July of 2004 was declared the winner on a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock, and 10 o'clock the following morning I was sworn into Congress, and I've been in constant motion since that time, and so it's been a labor of love. I've enjoyed most of it. I can't say I've enjoyed all of it, but I've enjoyed most of it. But one of the greatest joys is that I've been able to create and develop and cultivate relationships here in Washington. And I see many of you in the room that I recognize, and we have friendships that will endure. And so thank you so very much. As you all know and have witnessed, the telecommunications industry continues to evolve at a tremendous pace. I didn't realize that before I got to this place, but the industry just evolves and just multiplies every year. I never cease to be amazed at the steady research and innovation that is the catalyst behind the many advances that have been made in the industry, particularly since the development of the Internet. It wasn't that long ago when we were happy to dial up on our home computers to reach this thing called the Internet, a literal universe of information where the world was seemingly at your fingertips. And I was one of the first ones. I had AOL 2.0. If any of you can remember that, I operated the DOS system before Windows came along, and so I'm sort of ahead of my time as compared to many of my colleagues. In the wireless world, we've gone from handheld mobile devices that once had to be carried around in small briefcases. I remember I went to the 1988 Democratic Convention in Atlanta, and Jesse Jackson was running for president, and his campaign staff had a big cell phone about that large. And I imposed upon that gentleman to let me call home to say to my wife that I was talking wirelessly on a telephone. And later I found out that call cost $2. And this was in 1988. But we've gone from making a simple voice call to sending a simple text message or an email to sharing a basic picture over wireless networks, to now accessing the world with one stroke of a key from a device no bigger than a handheld calculator. With the advent of broadband and high-speed internet, we've unlocked the potential of whole communities across the globe to be a part of the vast world that in the past had not been even a figment of their imagination. I've seen what broadband can do for an economy struggling like ours to make a successful transition into this century. I know what a simple network laptop or cellular phone can mean for indigent communities, for poor communities that hunger to reach out to a world geographically beyond their reach. I've seen the business owner, the student, the single mother, the grandparent, the entrepreneur, even the ex-convict who have successfully used advanced technologies and tools which many in our society are fortunate enough to take for granted, to change not only their own lives, but the lives of others in their households, in their neighborhoods and communities. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I'm happy to be here with you today to discuss how we can continue to be forward-thinking in our approach to technology, but in doing so to develop public policies that will enhance the lives of millions of people who look to us for leadership every day. As some of you know, and certainly Lyndon Boozer for sure knows, I represent a very rural district in eastern North Carolina, very rural and very low income. We've been particularly hard hit by the downturn in the economy. We are hurting. And in my Democratic caucus this morning, this is all we've been talking about, how the American people are hurting. The economy is just devastating, and unemployment continues to climb. My state, as are many others, is struggling with double-digit unemployment. Many of the 23 counties that I represent are right at the top of the list in terms of highest unemployment rates in our state. I represent a district that has some of the highest cases of diabetes and hypertension, heart disease, stroke, and kidney failure. And these are the people that look to me as their representative to work as hard as I can on their behalf every day here in Washington. I see the debate we're having right now about the ability to maintain a thriving and open internet as central to their well-being. Let me explain. My district represents one of the highest tobacco districts and pork-producing areas in the country, and two industries that have been particularly hit in recent years. As our economy tries to successfully adjust to the contours and the demands of a nuanced and global 21st century society, it is essential that my constituents are afforded every opportunity to access the information superhighway that would help bridge them into 2010 and well beyond. As we move forward, high-speed broadband access will become an increasingly critical factor in determining potential economic development and prosperity. A report from the Brookings Institute found that for every 1 percentage point increase in broadband penetration in a state, employment is projected to increase by 0.2 to 0.3% per year. For the entire U.S. private non-farm economy, the study projected an increase of about 300,000 jobs. We must create jobs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you firsthand the struggles of trying to bring jobs to a community that has been especially hard hit by an economic downturn. In my estimation, broadband is no less than essential to bring jobs into communities like my community. Globally, broadband has transformed whole villages in Africa, and I've seen those firsthand. It's leading to economic empowerment and opportunity for women in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. It is a source of job training and a means of businesses to reach new markets across the world. It is a means for remote communities to reach a doctor and receive appropriate medical care. It is for these reasons that I have consistently advocated for the promotion and expansion of broadband in my community and in my district. Would we, here on the cusp of a new decade in the 21st century, deny anyone the right to an education or the right to receive appropriate medical care? Would we deny that a young boy or girl with all of the potential and imagination in the world the pencil and pad that would set that potential in motion? I dare say that we would not. And this is how we must think about the prospects for broadband in our communities. Right now, the FCC is undertaking a rulemaking process addressing the subject of net neutrality. I'm sure that comes as a surprise to most of you. I'm happy to see that Commissioner Baker was here with you earlier, and I was there when she had her confirmation hearing. She and Commissioner Clyburn were together that day. I think she and her colleagues at the FCC are doing great work, have a mountain of decisions in front of them, as we do in the Congress, on a host of issues that have been bottled up for years. However, as the net neutrality rulemaking process moves forward, I have to be concerned about the ramifications and that this could have on the people in the communities that I represent. I have all the confidence in the world in this new administration and in the direction they want to take our country, both from a policy and leadership standpoint. However, if we fail to take into full consideration the unintended consequences of government regulation of the Internet, we run a risk. We run the risk of delaying critical broadband expansion into many unserved communities of this country. Let me repeat, we run the risk of stifling the critical expansion of broadband into unserved and underserved communities across this country. Now, we'd be naive not to recognize that there are interests on all sides of this issue, as in all issues, and that have much to gain or lose depending on where the pendulum is swinging. However, my concern lies with the people of my district, the district I go home to every weekend. These people who can't search the millions of jobs online because they can't get viable Internet connections. Those people who can't get to a clinic and who also can't benefit from advances in telehealth and remote monitoring that I care so much about, that a robust broadband network can provide. I don't think any of us here is against the idea of an open Internet. But what I am against is putting potential obstacles in place that would inhibit an open opportunity to better yourself, your family, your church, and your community. Steady deployment of robust broadband networks and increasing broadband adoption is more than integral to a growing and competitive society. It should be considered sacrosanct and the priority for just about anything that we do in telecom at the federal level right now. In closing, let me again thank all of you for being here and for your friendship. I particularly want to thank Larry for all of the great work that is going on at the Phoenix Center. Under his leadership, I urge you to continue being at the forefront of the critical research necessary so that we in the Congress can make informed decisions about the direction of the industry and this country. As a member of the committee that deals with this issue, I truly appreciate all of the work that you and other stakeholders do and for asking the critical questions that must be asked that will move us forward in the country. Again, thank you for your friendship, thank you for the award, and thank you for listening to my remarks. Thank you.
With that, I thank everybody. Sorry, one second, Joe. I thank everybody for coming once again. We appreciate all your help, and we look forward to seeing everybody next year. Thank you, everybody. That was long. We actually have a really important